Whether you're a stitching pro or a newbie to the craft, there's something so satisfying about making your own needlecrafts. And today, Georgana Hall is here to share some timeless projects we can all tackle on our own at home. I have to admit, I've cross-stitched, like I think when I was 11 was the last time I picked up a needle and thread in that capacity. Right. So is this something that we can do?
Oh yes, okay, so I'm like obsessed with stitching because it's something that I like to be creative, and it's something small, so I don't have to like pull out tons of supplies to be creative. I can keep it all in my bag, and then when I'm ready to stitch, then I can just quickly pull it out. And maybe I'm flying on an airplane, I've taken my stitching stuff. If I'm like taking kids to like soccer practice and I have to wait for them in the car, I take my bag. So it's things like that where I can find little, like 10 minutes of time to be able to stitch.
And these aren't your grandmother's stitching projects.
No.
These are really kind of new and fresh and a fun way to do it. So tell us what you've brought and how we're gonna get started.
So these are all the different, some of the different things I've done. You say that's, you know, not your grandmother's crafting and stitching, and that's because there's fun, trendy patterns, and you can really add some fun texture to the projects, which I think really makes it fun and trendy to put them in your home afterwards. And so to get started, one of my very favorite things is this wash away stabilizer.
Okay.
And so to start, that's my biggest tip, is to have this. And this is a kit that you can get from Adorn It. It's a monthly kit, so you can already have the art pre-printed onto the stabilizer. Or you can also buy it blank. So if you are creative and want to maybe do something that you saw on Pinterest, you can buy it blank and run it through your home printer, and then actually we'll print the design onto here, and that creates the pattern.
Okay, so then what do you do with the pattern? Because I'm clueless here.
Okay, so what's so cool about this is it's actually a sticker, and so it has fillet. It has like a texture to it.
Oh yeah, it does.
And so you don't really have to put anything behind your fabric.
Okay.
And so all you have to do is just like literally peel off like a giant sticker, and then you just place it right onto your fabric. And so remember how you'd have to like trace, or with cross stitching you have to like count where you're gonna stitch?
Yep.
So that's what takes, you know, it makes it easy and simple and fun to do, because it takes that monotonous part out of it, of having to trace your pattern.
And this is a pattern you bought?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so, like I said, you can take get the blank one and print your own off if you want. So there's those two different options. So once you have that, then you want to put it into a hoop.
Okay.
And then you just literally start stitching right on top of the pattern. And look how this is already color coded. So you just get the thread.
So you know what color.
Exactly.
You just match your thread to the pattern.
So it's kind of like paint by color. You're stitching by color. So I like that also, because you don't have to be like, oh no, what color do I want to use? It's already done for you. So then when you start stitching, then you can see how it has a stabilizer underneath here. And it's really simple to stitch through. So you can see And
what stitch are you using?
I am just mostly using a back stitch, so really simple. I'm not like an expert and do all these crazy fun stitches, but you could definitely add those, but these are just back stitches, and you can see how easy that is for that needle to go through. And I kind of like how it has the grid in that stabilizer, that I can kind of put my needle through. So you can kind of
keep your stitches a little straighter.
Exactly, yeah. So it helps you keep the same length of stitch and really make it look beautiful, and like you really know what you're doing, but it's really simple.
And the threads are important too, because you have this really fun, I'm seeing this sparkly one.
Okay, so remember like when you're probably cross stitching, you had like your floss and you had to like pull apart the little strings, and then they get knotted and tangled. Okay, so now they have embroidery floss. This is by Sulky, that actually comes on a spool. So it looks like it's just regular thread, but it's actually an embroidery floss.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and so all you have to do is just pull it out. It's already in here, so it's easy to do. Just like thread, where you can wind it in there. And then so you just pull it out and then cut off however much you need.
What kind of needle are you using?
I am using an embroidery needle.
Okay.
So you can buy them, and you just go into your sewing shop and ask for an embroidery needle.
Okay, easy enough.
Easy, yep, and then you just thread it, and you can see that it's like a nice embroidery floss.
Wow.
So if you wanted to add more strands, then you could just add more into, if you want it to be a thicker strand as you're stitching. So I absolutely love that, because it saves the mess of all those knots.
You've about convinced me that this is something that I can do. You've been busy stitching. Tell us about some of the projects that you've brought.
So these are just fun, different ones. Like this is, I love that, I absolutely love the mason jars. And so I love how there's the cute butterflies and different things, you know, flowers, this cute calendar girl for the month of May.
How long does one of these take?
On
On average?
On average, probably around 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
But like I said,
busy.
I'm doing it like 10 minutes here, you know, a half hour there, or I'm like, okay, get all the kids to bed and I want to turn on Netflix and just stitch, then I'll do that too. It's like my little guilty pleasure.
And are you finding that you're framing most of them?
So you can frame them as home decor, or if you really like to sew and quilt, then you could like piece them into a quilt. This is a cute one that we just put a few strips around and then hung it on that cute mason jar to hang on like your door.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Or a spot in your home.
And you could trade it out every month.
Yeah.
You could have a different design.
A different design.
Is this something that you can like have your kids do?
Yes, my kids
What
absolutely
age?
love to do it. My 5-year-old will be like, Mom, I want to do this. And so I'll like get him a pattern, print it on the stabilizer, you know, print off what he wants to do, and then he'll stitch with me. So it's fun to do with kids
And
too.
I imagine you can pick patterns that are more beginner, a little more difficult.
Exactly, yes. So there's some that, you know, are just basic, very open, wide spaces that are easy to stitch, or then there's like more intricate ones like the ones I'm showing here where there's a little bit more detail to it. But really, if you can just backstitch, you can do this. It's really simple.
Okay, and people can find all these products at your store?
Adornit.com on our website, and we'll have the monthly stitch club and also the blank stabilizer so you can create your own.
Okay, these are so fun. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes.